You know, with our talks, we have some pretty deep topics to go over, that's for sure. But before we get into that, I was thinking we should discuss some fundamentals, some basic concepts first before we get into the more complex stuff. Before you can understand the way of the world, you have to know where you're at in it. That's why I was thinking we can talk about who we are, what makes us us. That would be our identity. It's an important subject to talk about. Connects and creates trust in people who share common traits. And most importantly, it gives instruction on our life's purpose, which we'll stick to the identity for now though. But don't worry, we will get on to the subject of purpose in another talk later on down the road. For this to make sense though, we need to get into a little Greek philosophy. Plato and Aristotle and their idea of essence, to be exact. Essence, to put into simple terms, is what traits does an object need for it to be that object? You know what? To better explain this, I have an example. So, think of a clock. Nothing special, just an ordinary clock. Got it? Alright, so the one you're imagining. It could be made of wood, plastic, or metal. It could be digital or mechanical, green, blue, red, or even polka dot. None of those characteristics are needed to really make the object a clock. And that means none of them are an essential part of what makes it a clock. I do know that your clock had some sort of display on it that shows the time. That display, on the other hand, is part of the essence of what it means to be a clock, as it's required for it to be one. If there is no display telling what time it is, then it wouldn't be a clock then, would it? So, to sum it up, the essence of an object is an irreplaceable part that must exist for the object to be what it is. Does that make sense? Alright, so now let's tie that all together with our original topic of identity. The more fundamental the characteristic, the more essential it is to our identity. The best way to find out who we are is to break it down into an identity pyramid, with the bottom being more essential and becoming less so the higher we go up. The bottom layer of the identity pyramid, and what connects all people, would be being human. Being human means we are more rational and relatively more intelligent than the other animals. The second layer up is your tribe. This splits into three smaller layers, being your race, your ethnicity, and then your own immediate family, each with their own customs and traditions that are passed down generation after generation. The next layer is that of gender. This defines your role in society as set by the tribe. As we move further up the identity pyramid, things start to become less intrinsic and less essential. The fourth layer is that of your religion or philosophy. This is how we perceive reality and gives us our moral compass. The layer after, and the last really important aspect of your identity, is your profession. The work you do is how you contribute to society. The last layer, and the least important part of our identity, we can fit into miscellaneous. This can be your hobbies, the products you buy, the TV shows you watch, and video games you play. This layer does give us a bit of individuality, but it's no hill to die on, that's for sure. Unfortunately, the way we see identity is becoming less popular in our times. The way we see the world is being replaced slowly by the progressive force of existentialism. Founded during the Enlightenment, Existentialism is our polar opposite. The most important parts of identity, like our tribe and gender, are seen as social constructs to them. Anything that is intrinsic to who we are is meaningless to them. The existentialists believe we are born a blank slate and we decide our own identity. There's no rules. It's all chaos and explained by vague feelings with nothing really concrete. They flip the identity pyramid on its head and put the miscellaneous at the most important. Want your identity to be a Burger King customer? To them, go for it. Feeling like a girl? They're fully accepting of that. Hey, why not? Be your authentic self. As you can see, it's not compatible with how we think. Like I said, it's all chaos. There is no meaning. It's as if they want there to no longer be identity, as they tear away our essential features, to be replaced with nothing more than hollow self identifications. The worst part of it all is that they feel this inner urge to find the authentic life. The life us essentialists already live. The existentialists, they travel the world to see authentic life in what they see as primitive societies. And as they spread around the world, they corrupt these essential societies, turning them into carbon copies of their modern cosmopolitan utopias like Portland. It's a vicious cycle with no end in sight. This is why it's so important that even though we didn't choose our identity, we need to embrace and protect it. If we allow the progressive existentialists to continue to take our identity, then all of our differences will become meaningless. Everything that truly makes us unique will be gone. That is the modern world the progressives want. And we're all that stands in their way.